So I'm going to go ahead and call the business meeting of the Portland Board of Public Education to order. It is Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. We're in a meeting in a hybrid format with most of us here at Casco Bay High School and some online via Zoom. Vice Chair Bondo is going to be joining us online, and Board Member Grant will not be in attendance tonight. And we do have, oh, perfect. Here comes everyone else you're waiting for. Beautiful. So we are here. So I'm going to ask Deputy Superintendent Townsend if you'll please call the roll.
Good evening, everybody. Member Bilyeu, Vice Chair Bondo.
Result.
Member Bryden.
Here.
Member Figdor.
Here.
Member Grant. Member Opperman.
Here.
Member Russell Better.
Here.
Member Youssef.
Here.
Member Ellis. Member Hemond.
Here.
Member McLaughlin. Member Santiago. And Chair Lentz.
Here. Beautiful. And we are expecting Board Member Bilyeu. She's running a bit late. And on that, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Portland Public Schools recognizes the original inhabitants of the land on which our city and schools stand. The Wolastoqiyik or Maliseet, Micmac, Penobscot, and Passamaquoddy tribes, known collectively as the Wabanaki Confederacy or People of the Dawnland. We are honored to have Wabanaki children among our students today, and as a district, we are committed to making the past, present, and future of Wabanaki peoples visible in our schools and classrooms. So now we're going to move into public comment. In our last board meeting in June, we updated our public comment policy. And so the language is going to be a little bit different tonight. We might iterate depending on how this goes, but here we go. So as a reminder about public comment, the public may speak on any subject directly related to the operations of the schools, except for personnel matters or complaints concerning specific employees or students. During public comment, all public comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes or 6 minutes for individuals using an interpreter to make their comment. Individuals may not relinquish a portion of their allocated time to another speaker. The board may not respond to comments, and please refrain from responding in the audience. Speakers must refrain from engaging in disruptive conduct, including but not limited to using vulgar and/or obscene language, threatening others using words or by their actions, using pejorative or discriminatory language with reference to a person or group on the basis of their religion, ethnicity, nationality, race, color, descent, gender, or other identity factor, making defamatory comments exceeding the allotted time limits, talking over or interrupting others, offering repetitive comments, and offering comments on matters unrelated to the school district's programs, policies, or operations. I will stop any public comment that is contrary to these guidelines. To give a public comment, please come forward to the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Please begin by introducing yourself with your name and address. We'll alternate, if needed, between Zoom and in person. I'll keep the time and will raise a yellow folder indicating that you have 30 seconds remaining. I'll raise a red folder signifying the end of your time. If you get to the end of your time and would like to request more, you may do so. Beautiful. All right, Carrie, go ahead.
Hello. Can everyone hear me? My name is Carrie Dowdy. I'm president of the Portland Education Association. I'd like to take a moment, Dr. Skellin, to welcome you on behalf of the Portland Education Association to the district, as well as all of the educators and administrators who will be named tonight as new hires, and welcome them as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Is there anyone else that would like to give public comment either here or in Zoom? Okay, seeing no hands and no bodies at the podium, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. So I'm going to move into the report of the chair. Welcome back from a quick break. It was a month, but it felt like a day. I hope everyone listening has had the opportunity to slow down and enjoy some sunshine when it has been present. Since the last time we were all in this room together, we've had a few notable changes. Interim Superintendent Nally has moved on from the district. Interim Superintendent Townsend has become Deputy Superintendent and is still sitting with us today. And we have welcomed Dr. Scallon as our new superintendent. For those that may be watching at home, this room is also filled with new building leaders and returning building leaders, and it's really exciting to see these additions to our community. So as we have welcomed Dr. Scallon into our district, it has been incredible to see him intensely focus on building relationships in every part of our city while simultaneously learning about our culture, our strengths, and our areas of growth. He'll be talking more about this later, but the district has been holding a number of listening and learning sessions and will continue to hold these throughout the fall. This is a wonderful opportunity to both meet our new superintendent, connect with others in the district, and voice your thoughts and ideas. In one of these sessions recently, a parent talked about what an amazing experience their student has had in our schools. However, she pointed out that she didn't feel super connected to other schools or families of the schools outside of the schools that her children attended. She referenced wanting our district to keep what makes each individual school strong, but to work on deepening our connective tissue, or the pieces that hold us together and unify us. And I couldn't agree more. Over the coming weeks, the board will be working with Dr. Scallon to create priorities for the year. The work will include more listening sessions, a board retreat, and continued meetings with city leadership to better understand each other and to align on how we will tackle a tremendously challenging budget. As soon as those priorities are defined, we'll be sure to share them with you. I invite all of you to join in this process. We cannot do it alone, and need the power of this community to help us continue to move through these challenges and the greatness that our community embodies. If you're interested in taking on an even bigger role, I'd like to again plug and encourage you to think about running for school board. There are races happening in District 4, 5, and at large. Please reach out to any of us for more information and to learn more about being an office. Folks have already started to pull papers, which is great. And the first deadline is August, I believe, 14th or 18th to get signatures in. So please reach out for more information. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Scallon for your first remarks of the superintendent.
Aaron, you want to pull up the slides? Great, thank you. Oh, wait. Change my screen. There we go. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to join for my first official board meeting as superintendent of public schools. Today actually marks the completion of 1 month and 1 day. And so I have appreciated the opportunity to be welcomed into the community and would like to thank everyone for the warm welcome, whether it's from the individuals who've stopped me on the street and recommended a doctor to the conversations we've had at the Listen and Learn. I've appreciated the opportunity and the welcome so far. As I complete my first month with Portland Public Schools, I continue to learn about all of the great things that the district has to offer. We have a wide range of programs for students that push career and technical education, college readiness with dual enrollment, and student support and supporting students with language acquisition. Last week, for example, I had the opportunity to visit some of our summer school programs. We are currently supporting programs for over 1,000 students in partnership with 9 community organizations. These programs include summer camps, and recreation for elementary school students, high dosage tutoring, reading enrichment to avoid any summer slide, credit recovery, and intensives at the high school level. I've also had the opportunity to meet with a number of partner organizations in the city. It is clear that there are a number of aligned organizations, and I look forward to continuing to build those relationships and our partnerships in the future. Last, but certainly not least, I've had the opportunity to meet many of our great staff that we have in the central office, leading our schools and educating our students. It is clear that our staff make Portland Public Schools a great place to be. Speaking of great staff, I want to take a moment to recognize two staff members that are representative of the great educators in this district. Shoshana Hoos is a teacher at our Portland Adult Education Program. This summer, she was named by the Maine Adult Education Association as their Outstanding Teacher of the Year. Joshua Chard is a second grade teacher at East End Community School. He was named the 2023 Cumberland County Teacher of the Year and is a semifinalist for the Maine Teacher of the Year. Well, both of these individuals are not here tonight and are hopefully off enjoying their summer break. But can we just please take a moment to recognize them and share a round of applause for their impressive work? As Board Chair Lentz mentioned, as I've transitioned into this role, we have launched a pretty extensive community engagement process. This process has 3 phases. The first phase is focused on listening and learning. During this phase, we are hosting community meetings with families, students, staff, community partners, businesses, and elected officials. At the end of this phase, I plan to share out the key trends and themes that we hear with both the community and the board in October. The second phase is a review and update to our strategic plan. There will be opportunities for members of our community to be active in this process, and this information will be shared in the fall. At the end of the strategic planning process, we will have identified goals and guardrails for our work and have a draft strategic plan that will highlight both the priorities of our work as well as what we will stop doing. The third phase is our budget process. We will certainly do budget planning throughout the year, as this will be a challenging budget year with the loss of COVID relief funds and changes in our state funds. This phase is about making sure that our budget is aligned with our strategic plan and our goals. In the listen and learn phase, I want to let you know what has already taken place, our upcoming engagements, and how members of community can share their insights. In the first month, we have hosted 4 community engagement sessions, including one that was particularly focused on our multilingual families. I've also had the opportunity to meet with the majority of our central office teams and with school leaders at all but 3 of our schools. All of these conversations have left me feeling both charged and excited, and also with an incredible sense of responsibility for the trust that families place in our schools. There are still a large number of engagements in August. These include gatherings of nonprofits, businesses, in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, and religious leaders. We are also planning for a number of sessions with families, students, and staff when everyone returns in September. Last, if you are excited and want to participate this week, there's a session at 4 p.m. on Thursday at King Middle School. This is a great opportunity to share your insights with me, and even more importantly, meet our new principal, Amy Marks. In addition, if you cannot join a session but want to stay connected, our Portland Schools website has now been updated to include a page dedicated to listen and learn. And in addition, in September, we will send out a survey where you'll have an opportunity to share your insights. Last, if you're interested in hosting a session as part of the Listen and Learn, please don't hesitate to email us at superintendent@portlandschools.org to schedule that. While I'm intentionally taking the time to listen and learn about Portland, we have not slowed down our work in the district. This evening, you will learn from many of our department heads on our readiness for the start of the school year. As a result, I will limit my comments to just 2 areas. First, we have made significant progress in leadership hiring and recently hired an executive director of elementary schools and a director of data. We have completed all school-based leadership hiring with the exception of 2 assistant principals that we are actively hiring for. And I do anticipate sharing an update on the executive directors of finance and operations in the next 2 weeks. The second area I want to share an update on is with our finance and payroll capabilities. This remains an area of concern and a necessary focus as it will not be fixed overnight. That said, we have made some steps to improve our capacity in these areas. We have brought on external financial capacity to provide audit and operational supports, and we are working to engage Spinglass to assist with the reconciliation of any additional past payments. In their initial engagement, Spinglass reviewed payments through approximately March, and this would be for the remainder of fiscal year 23. In addition, we have realigned our team capacity and started to cross-train staff. This is not a long-term solution, but it does provide some capacity for more urgent tasks and some redundancy for these key tasks. Once Barry Dunn, the firm that we've brought on to provide that capacity, Once they complete their initial review of our financial functions, we'll provide a further update to the board and to the community about our work plan. Thank you again for the welcome, and this concludes my remarks.
Great. Thank you, Superintendent Scallon. And now I'm going to turn it over to Board Member Figdor. I know you had something you wanted to bring to the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I have a motion tonight. As board members know, we can make motions to add issues to the agenda. And my motion is to better pay our multilingual parent community specialists, payroll and finance staff, and other staff who are not represented by one of our collective bargaining units. It's a total of 95 staff. These staff are critical to the district, but have been neglected because there's no one to advocate for them. And tonight I'm suggesting that the board advocate for these non-represented staff. My motion is simple. It does three things. One, it increases the cost of living increase for non-represented staff from 3% to 5% this fiscal year. Two, it establishes that it's the board's intent to provide annual wage increases to non-represented staff in future years that, at a minimum, keep up with inflation. And three, it directs the superintendent to include updates to the wages of non-represented staff in his next budget based on the regional compensation study that is already underway. This proposal costs $130,000, and we easily have that money in this year's budget as a result of staff openings and other factors. So my motion is for us to come together tonight, now, to better pay our multilingual parent community specialists, payroll staff, and other non-represented staff. To move this forward, I would need a second.
Is there a second?
I do a second.
Thank you, Board Member Bondo. Are there any questions on the motion to add this to the agenda? Okay, I'm going to ask, seeing no questions right now, I'm going to move to public comment. Are there any public comment on the motion? Okay, I'm going to close public comment. Is there any board discussion? I would just like to offer up that I will not be voting to add this to the agenda tonight. We have been in deep process to really look at kind of what is happening with our unrepresented staff. And I feel strongly that we don't have all of the information right now that we need until that compensation study is done to be able to move forward with some of the things that I all think are like good ideas, and that we do need to be paying our multilingual staff more, especially those that are working in the unrepresented category. But I just feel that there are a lot of decisions that have already been made in this area, and to bring this up now doesn't feel right. And I look forward to getting the results of the compensation study and using that to inform a bigger picture, layout and plan for this group of staff in comparison to the rest of the staff in our district. Any other board members? Board Member Bryden.
Thank you, Chair. So I similarly will be voting no. I want to make clear that my intent is not to say that we shouldn't be paying people more, but I share the chair's opinion that we need to let the compensation study go through the process. And I also feel like this conversation is more properly situated within broader budget conversations. So I'll be voting no. Thank you, Chair.
Any other discussion from the board? Okay.
I have my hands up.
Oh, sorry, Mickey. I was looking for your physical hand, not your Zoom hand. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yes. So even though I say yes to move to the agenda, but after listening to both Victor, and I feel like, I really want to see the compensation studies to move on the process. So unfortunately, I will be voting no. Thank you.
Yeah, Board Member Figdor.
I just want to, to clarify that there was during our budget process this year, there's information that wasn't brought to our attention in terms of the wages for our non-represented staff. And analysis of how those wages weren't keeping up with the rest of our staff, increases for the rest of our staff. Again, these staff have no one to advocate for them. In fact, if you look at year over year, these staff are the ones who don't get any increases, any steps, like all of our other staff, based on merit or longevity, and whether or not they get COLAs, cost of living increases every year, has just been up to the board. So the reason I'm bringing this up now is that we didn't have information during our budget process about how much these salaries and wages were falling short. And I wish I had that information at the time. I should have asked those questions. But just waiting another year to me is not okay. Waiting till next year's budget and then meaning that people would see increases a year from now. Right now, the reality is that these folks are taking home less every year because the increases that they have gotten do not keep up with inflation. So year after year, this year, they're going to have less in their wallets as a result of our as a result of no one advocating for them. And I'll just state that the last time we did a regional compensation study was in 2017 and 2018. There were extensive recommendations made to ensure that our staff were sufficiently paid. And because of budget constraints at the time, the board didn't see those results, and we never made any of those changes. So this is an issue with a very long track record of these staff being overlooked.
Board Member Billiard.
Thank you. Sorry. I just want to say that I think this conversation is obviously important, and compensation is something that we all need to discuss, especially on the range. And we've had multiple conversations with about multiple groups needing to get compensated, and obviously having legal conversations with their representation. And it's disheartening that this group hasn't been represented. But like Emily just pointed out, this has been a long conversation that the board members before should have dealt with coming to this end, right? If you've been here since 2018, why wasn't that dealt with? And if half of us that are here now are coming from a year, or were elected a year ago, or were elected 2 years ago, I don't want to make a decision that is going to rush a process where we need to be deliberate in how we're delivering those resources, or how we're ensuring that people are getting paid the right way. If we rush this process, we can literally create another problem where only certain people are getting paid, only the managers are getting those resources, and that money is not trickling top down. And so nobody's saying we're not, at least I'm not saying that we're not trying to advocate for these people, or that we're not we're not trying to create resources for them. But every single time I'm in this chair, we keep making fast decisions. We keep making decisions that we're not prepared to make. We don't have the resources to make, or we don't even have an implementation plan. And I'm really sick of that. So let's at least have the conversation, create the resources, and then do the work that we need to do. Because obviously we all care. And if you cared, it would have been 2018, right?
Just to correct the record, the compensation study in 2017 to 2018 was never brought to the board. And the discrepancies in the staff we acknowledged earlier this year needed to be looked at. My proposal is to increase for all non-represented staff the cost of living increased from 3% to 5%. So it'd be the same across the board. The only exceptions are for the superintendent because we just negotiated his salary, as well as for new cabinet level positions where the salaries were negotiated just in the recent weeks. But with that,
Thank you, Board Member Biliou and Board Member Figdor. And I just remind all board members to wait to be called on before speaking to maintain order. Thank you. Are there any other points of discussion from the board? Seeing none, then I will ask that we take a roll call vote on the motion to add this resolution to the agenda.
Member Biliou,
No.
Vice Chair Bondo,
No.
Member Bryden,
No.
Member Figdor,
yes.
Member Grant, Member Opperman,
No.
Member Russell Better,
No.
Member Youssef,
No.
Member Hemond,
No.
Chair Lentz.
No. So the motion fails with all present board members voting against, except for Board Member Figdor and Student Representative voting against, Student Representative Heeman voting against as well. So with that, we're going to move on to the report of the secretary, which is the consideration and action to approve the meeting minutes of June 20th, 2023. Are there any corrections to the meeting minutes for June 20th, 2023?
I don't think they were posted.
I'm looking at I see them.
They're there now.
They're
Yeah,
here.
it was
Under report of
corrected
the secretary, bullet
This
5.
afternoon. They had not been, but were corrected earlier this afternoon.
Did folks not have time to look at them? If not, we can wait until next meeting. Okay, so let's move those to the next meeting. I apologize. I did not realize that they were not posted. We'll get those for the next meeting. So then we're going to move on to consent items. Who is doing consent items tonight? Is that Deputy Superintendent or?
Sure. Yeah.
Great.
It's my favorite part of the meeting. Apologize, let me call them up. So under board policy KCD, the school board accepts by unanimous consent contributions made to the school district of durable goods of significant value and of symbolic importance. As required by policy, all of the donations are listed in the board memo by name and donation accompanying this item. Our practice is that each donor receives a written contribution acknowledgement expressing our heartfelt gratitude and for their tax purposes. So with that, I would like to thank the following contributors to the Portland Public Schools. We're very grateful for their support of our work. Jacqueline Delano of Portland donated a 2006 Ford Taurus for use in PA's automotive repair education program.
Awesome. Thank you, Deputy Superintendent Townsend. Okay, and then now we're going to move on to the board focus. So, Dr. Scallon, I will turn it over to you.
Yes, good evening again. I'm excited that we will have an opportunity this evening to hear from a number of our directors and executive directors who've been working hard with their teams all summer to make sure that we are starting the school year on a strong note. You can go to the next slide. And so for our work, it always starts with our vision and our mission. And then our summer focus, we have really been focused on making sure that we have a safe and smooth opening to the school year. We believe that if we are able to do this, that it directly aligns to making sure that we are providing a safe, joyful, rigorous academic experience and moving towards the direction of our vision. We're going to have members of our function areas come. You can see them up there, that we have 6 of them that will be sharing out. What I would ask is that we share out. Each of them have about 1 slide, and then they will all be here for any questions as well that maybe come up. And so with that, I would like to welcome up Barrett Wilkinson.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thrilled to say that we're in a better position than we were a year ago around staffing, which I think is representative of just tremendous hard work on the part of our hiring managers throughout the district. So as you can see in this data, we've calculated about a 30% decrease in the overall number of staff leaving the system. So that's the combined number of retirements and resignations, comparing last year over this year. And an exciting thing for us too is that the HR department is fully staffed, thanks to the budget investments. Our HR generalists are staffed up and are working with incredible speed to process and move hiring processes along for all of our schools and departments. So that is wonderful news on a lot of levels. So just as a touch point in the data, last Friday, on Friday, we had 50 positions posted that were open. That doesn't mean that that's all the vacancies. That means sort of like that's what's happening in that moment in time. Some are in the hiring process, like they might have moved to interviews. Some might be in a compensation offer process. But by Saturday morning, I think it was at 37. So it's a constantly shifting number, but that's just like a touch point. I think it's 37 currently, actually. So the work is still in progress for hiring. Our biggest areas include educational technicians across the system, especially for specialized programs, student support services overall. And then I'm sure my colleagues will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe second shift custodians have also been harder to fill. So we're going to try some things that we've tried in the past with a little deeper focus. We did hiring fairs last year. We're going to deepen that this year and focus explicitly on ed techs. Last year, we wound up using hiring fairs to find more shorter term staff, long-term subs and substitutes. So, and then we also, in partnership with TNTP through the BAR grant, one of the BAR grant projects we have some exciting data work to really help us understand more about our retention data. So it's good to show that it looks like our retention data is headed in a positive direction, but I want to know more about that. So that's my notes on staffing.
And Barrett, just check my numbers here. The 37 that were openings as of Saturday, 13 of them were classroom teachers and 11 of them were ed techs.
Yes.
And then the remaining is made up of a number of positions. But just to give you a sense that when it comes to classrooms, we're not there yet, but we're in a good spot.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what, if you went to apply for a job on our website today, which we encourage, we are welcoming new people to the Portland Public Schools family. That's what you would see in those listings.
Great. Thank you. Food services.
Do we want to hold all questions to the end?
Yeah, I think that's best.
Okay.
Because we may get a couple of the questions that are answered later on.
Beautiful.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dawn Hilton. I'm the director of the food service department, and it's nice to be here. I'll start my update with the summer meal program. It's been running smoothly. We have a fantastic summer meal team that are serving, preparing, and delivering meals to 16 summer meal locations. Our drivers make sure they get there on time. It's just an incredible team. I'm really proud of them. We continue to work on our staffing. We have 5 current vacancies. One of those is in process of hiring. One is in the process of interviewing, and 2 positions will be posted shortly. I'm excited about our August 30th all-staff training. I'm looking forward to seeing the entire food service team. We have a few topics we'll review and provide training on. We'll review updates on USDA regulations, civil rights training, meal pattern, and point of service refreshers, just to name a few. We have our 2 delivery trucks scheduled for maintenance during the week of August 14th. That's our final week of summer meals. It gets a little quieter, so we can squeeze that in. So we wanted to do that ahead of time and leave as much room as possible in case there are any repair issues that need to be addressed. And we are scheduling preventative maintenance during the month of August to hopefully mitigate any equipment issues. And those are my updates.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Welcome up, Scott St. Ars.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Scallon, Deputy Superintendent Townsend, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Scott St. Ars. I'm your Director of Transportation for Portland Public Schools. Happy to be here. A little nervous. My first time. I represent a great staff. I'm sure you know most of them. 24 hours ago, I could have stood here and told you we were fully staffed. Today, I had a retirement, but had a great interview today. Looks like a solid fit. I expect to go into the school year fully staffed. To mention some of the problems that the department had last year, we had to cancel a lot of routes. We were very short drivers. I don't see that being a problem this year. I expect us to hit the normal flu season, and there'll be some hectic mornings, but my staff, myself, my other managers, all ready to drive if need be. We've just brought in 11 new buses, which should have our maintenance costs go down significantly. We took 5 buses that were no longer roadworthy, high miles, years of service. So we retired those. And believe it or not, we found a buyer for those buses. The Granite State Fair on September 16th has a school bus demolition derby. So if you ever want to see school buses run into each other without the stress, that's the place to be. A lot of you know the name Robin Wells in transportation. She left us. We've replaced her with Chris Shore, and he's picking up where she left off. Very good. He's learning very quickly. And lastly, Kevin Whittemore, who you all know, left us with a piece of software called Traversa that does a daily update with Infinite Campus. So our routing system is seamless. As long as staffs and programs input their student data, it'll go right into our routing, and no student should be forgotten or, without a ride. So that's where we stand. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Scott. One thing that Scott did not mention, but that I know that families may be wondering about as they reach out, is that we do anticipate those route cards coming out around August 21st. So that week they should be out.
Hi, I'm Tamara Sweeney. Sorry if I'm too close. Sorry. I'm not used to speaking into a microphone. Director of Facilities. Most of you I've met virtually as the assistant director. So nice to see you all in person. Just wanted to touch base on some of our summer work that we've been doing. The Reiki BFOF, we're in really good shape there. This summer's work has really been focused on the roof project, the plaza roof, which will be continuing into the school year, but won't affect the start of school at all. Also some limited classroom impact with the music and art rooms, which we won't be in at the beginning of the school year, but won't impact CO at all. CO will be on August 25th. Our custodial staff is in those buildings right now, so are able to make sure that all the classrooms are set up for the beginning of school. So we don't anticipate any issues with Reiki for the start of school this year. Longfellow, we were experiencing some issues with millwork with the Trico vendor. That's all been cleared up. We have all the millwork in place and it's all been installed. So we're good on that. And that would be really the only impact that we felt for getting CO on August 18th. So after August 18th, our custodial staff will have a team that will move all the classrooms into their space, and we'll be ready to have the teachers come in on the 28th. The Presumpscot BFOF, all the interior works complete. We're in the process right now of doing the exterior work. They just seeded and loamed, and some of the grass is coming in already. And they are going to be doing the paving work next week. So we'll be good at Presumpscot. Deering High School, we've been doing an ADA project this summer there. which is the first and second floor bathrooms at this point, getting them ADA compliant. And the third floor bathrooms will probably have to be pushed until part of the school year, but we're working with Jake and his staff over at Deering High School to make sure that doesn't affect any of the classes or any of the school. We did finish the gym floor refinishing over at Deering High School. And then King Middle School, we had the gym floor re-leveling. We lifted it up, put some support underneath the floor. It had sunk over the years, and that project is almost complete. Portland High School roof. We are in the process of re-roofing the roof right now. That also will not affect school start. It should be being done by the end of August. We're also proceeding with looking at the facade that is crumbling on the face of the school. We're working with an engineering company right now to get that out to bid with the city. And Talbot, we're also working on an ADI project over at Talbot with countertops. And then next summer, we'll be doing the bathrooms at each one of the pods at Talbot. Lincoln, Lyseth, and Moore we're paving, doing some paving work in the parking lot and the entrance of Lyseth and Moore. And there's numerous schools that we're doing door access control bid work right now with the city to make sure that all schools have door access control on them. So then, so our custodial staff has been working really hard at getting our schools ready, cleaned. We're at about 50%, probably a little bit more, probably more towards 55% ready to accept students in about 5 weeks, I think it is. And we'll be scheduling walkthroughs with principals in mid-August with our custodial supervisor to make sure that the principals and staff are ready and think that schools are ready for the students to come. And so, yeah, we're just continuing. We do have some vacancies in our department. I'm currently in the process of scheduling interviews for the assistant director position. We have about 4.5 custodial vacancies. We've done most of the interviews for. We're in various processes of hiring some custodial staff. By the time we start school, we're hoping we just have the half vacancy at Peaks Island, which is a very tough position to fill. And then we have a building trades worker that was a new position in July that we have out. We don't have any candidates yet, but we're hopeful. That's a real tough one to fill, building trades workers. So, and I implemented a new work order system at the end of June. Then we'll continue training with staff when school resumes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're now going to move to our multilingual office that also supports students who are experiencing housing instability. And welcome up, Grace.
And I'm specifically going to talk about what we have done with students experiencing housing instability. So as you know, the district is required to identify children and youth who lack a fixed, regular, adequate nighttime residence through the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, which is the primary piece of legislation, federal legislation, related to the education of children and youth experiencing homelessness. So in Portland, our McKinney-Vento students and their families are doubled up with one or sometimes more than one other family in a house or an apartment, or are living in motels, so at the Salvation Army, at the family shelter, and most recently at their house at the Expo, which you all know will be closed by August 16th. So for context, we started the school year with 259 McKinney-Vento students, and we served 828 the rest of the school year. We closed the school year with 719 McKinney-Vento students, since 109 students found permanent housing sometime during the school year. So this summer, Our bilingual social workers at Multilingual and the Language Access team work with summer school staff to enroll McKinney-Vento students. We prioritize them for summer school slots. They're enrolled in various summer school programs. Some of these programs have limited transportation support, so my staff organized transportation services to access some summer learning experiences for them using the van that was specifically purchased for McKinney-Vento students. We have established a multicultural food pantry at the center, which stocks multiculturally appropriate food. The pantry has been very busy this summer. We continue to provide fresh food and other staples to Portland families in need. It's great that we have one of our bilingual social workers working this summer. In addition to managing the food pantry, she's now putting together a clothing and shoe closet at central office for distribution at the start of the school year. Footwear, jackets, and winter gear are often needed by new families. The social worker has also been meeting with individual students and families to address their social emotional needs and well-being. She's also facilitating a Latinx affinity group along with one of our Spanish family engagement specialists. All these services are designed for students so that they can have a healthy start to the school year. So for our upcoming work, the McKinney-Vento social workers and others multilingual staff will continue to do their regular check-in with families housed at the expo and coordinate support with the City of Portland staff and other community-based organizations. The city and its partner agencies are looking for temporary or permanent housing for families housed at the expo. Some of the families have been placed in Motel 6, which means that they will still be our students. Currently, there are still 76 families at the expo. This number will continue to change as housing arrangements are found. And as required by the McKinney-Vento Act, we need to connect with families to confirm their housing status and addresses for the new school year. And our family and community engagement specialists are making this necessary and critical calls to families so we can be proactive in addressing the impact on school enrollment, school placement, staffing assignment, and transportation.
Thank you. And we have one more update from Deputy Superintendent Townsend.
Great. Good evening again, everyone. As you heard from a number of our colleagues, many of the updates you've heard are directly related to much of the work that school leaders have been engaged in particular, the staffing work that Barrett referenced. As you heard in the superintendent's report, we're nearly finalized with our administrative team, and we're expect to be on track in the next couple of weeks and hope to bring forward at the next board meeting appointments for the two final school leadership positions. And we're excited to welcome some of our new school leaders a little bit later in this meeting. Schools have been working hard on drafting their school plans for the year, their school success plans, as we refer to them, aligned to our district teaching and learning priorities for the year. And then, as the next bullet says, we've developed the district-wide PD and collaboration calendar, and sites have been starting to work on their own school professional development calendars. All of those are on track for schools to have what we call launch-ready versions before teachers return for August Institute on Monday, August 28th. And then we have launched a partnership with an outside organization with funding again from BAR to further our work on positive and joyful school climates with a focus on middle schools. So that work is off the ground, and they had some good collaborative work time today at our retreat. So over the next month, in anticipation of the start of the school year, we'll be partnering with school leaders to make sure all internal operations are set, schedules are, set in Infinite Campus, everything's produced, ready to roll, materials, are ready and available to launch the year. We're working both with our academic team members and school-based staff to ensure the August Institute plans for those 4 days and now the additional 5th day on Tuesday, September 5th we're ready to go for that, welcoming them back to the year and launching our work. And then lastly, we're continuing to lean in tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, we're partnering with Portland Police to do safety training in anticipation of our rollout over the system across the fall. We'll do safety training with staff on the 5th and then have some opportunities for follow-up at each school site, again, in partnership with the training sergeant from PPD to ensure we're prepared for any emergencies as they arise this year.
Thank you for the updates and thank you for all your work over this summer for everybody who shared out. I know it's been a lot of work and I feel like we are in the direction of having schools be ready for a strong start. If it would please the chair, we're happy to open up and take any questions.
Perfect. Yes, I would love to open it up to any board member questions. Yes, Board Member Opperman.
Not a question, just a comment of this is a really nice list. Thank you for all that. It's not easy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, Board Member Russell-Better.
Thank you, Chair. My question was for Dr. Valenzuela, who I think at the end of your slide, you did reference this a little bit, but I think you had just said kind of following up with families about maybe, their living situation before the school year started. And I just was wondering about kind of what happens with students that may have been in a school, last year, but then their housing situation. I'm just wondering kind of how are those determinations made about where students might be as far as like staying in the school community that they were in? I mean, I know that gets really complicated with, how many spots I know we got a report about where students were in different buildings and kind of trying to, spread students out. So just kind of wondering the thinking around that, like if there's consideration of trying to keep students in schools that they were,
That's a consideration.
Yeah.
So that's important so that then it's not disruptive.
Yeah.
So if they continue to be in a situation of homelessness, we will make sure that they stay with the school that they are in at the last year.
Okay.
But if they are housed someplace else, then it's important for us to consider. That's why we have to make the calls to consider having the students be in the neighborhood where they live.
So if they get into permanent housing, that would be a change. But if students continue to have temporary housing, or even if that shifts, there is an attempt made to keep them in that school that they,
Absolutely.
I just had a staff person, someone asked me about kids being moved, and I thought, I'm not sure how that gets determined. So that's helpful to know that the stability piece is a consideration. Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Oh, yes, Board Member Bondo.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair. I have a couple of questions. Thank you for the presentation. That's a lot to take from there. And I have a question for Barrett on the staff living. And I think the 30% decrease is a good number. But I just wonder to know beside on the retirement, we have a resignation. Do you have any ideas on where exactly those resignations are? I mean, from the teachers, the custodians, so which level on the schools or staff been on that resignation? And also, can we just know on the highest if it's those resignations is mostly elementary school, middle school, or high schools? Thank you.
Great question. I don't have an answer for you at this moment, but I can work on that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And my second question is on the food service, on the summer meal. And we know that the summer meal been helping a lot of families to add food, a second meal on the table. So I know maybe later on we may know the number of the family that we have served so far compared to last year. And I'm trying to see how we were able to serve family from the shelter or the expo as well, beside of the food pantry.
Sure. Great question. Thank you. We have served roughly 6,000 breakfasts so far and roughly 12,500 lunches since the beginning of the summer meal program. In comparison with last summer, breakfast is down about 10%, while lunch has increased about 10 to 15%. I believe the students from the expo are receiving meals through the various programs that Portland Schools has done outreach for to help get them into the various summer meal programs throughout the cities. And we also have an open meal summer meal site at King Middle School.
Okay, great. And also we have so I just want to understand the way the summer meals went. So that means we have different sites. So we have families are going to those sites to pick up meals, or we have delivery as well.
So we do have 12 open summer meal sites where families can go, and children, anyone 18 or under, can receive a free meal. Meals do have to be consumed on site this summer. That was a change in USDA regulations. The waivers that allowed Cumberland County to have grab and go meals have expired.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much. My third question is on the facilities. So I know we have a lot of buildings, mostly maintenance, but no renovation. So I'm all the time wondering about the Deering's windows. So I just want to make sure that it's something that we checked on that, or is still ongoing.
Deering windows, is that what you asked?
Yes.
So there is a window projects in numerous schools. It's on the capital improvement plan books right now, and it's still on the books. It's just its capacity at this point, how much projects I can handle by myself at one time.
All right, I see. So Tamara, we keep on checking on that, right? So I've been checking because I've been wondering for years.
Yeah, it's on the list.
Yeah, I'm checking on that. I just put on my notes here. Thank you so much. Okay, so my last question is for Grace, Miss Valenzuela. Thank you so much. Just wonder if the summer program is still going. I know we're doing for a month. I know you're still going, and I know you may not have the number. I just wonder if we can have a number, how many students from the expo or the immigrant being enrolled on the summer programs. And also just making sure on the reading, if we have some books then being sent home for families to be able to increase the literacy skills.
So the books will be done by at the school level. So don't have knowledge about that. But the summer expo programming, Maureen Clancy, our language access committee.
Thank you. So every child at the expo was provided with a summer program of some sorts, except for the children entering pre-K or K. So for children entering 1st through 5th grade, the majority are going to the Boys and Girls Club, and some to the Root Cellar, who went up to 6th grade, and siblings. For the middle school students, we had the Telling Room and the Maine Academy of Modern Music camps that were provided, and we're also doing a week of basketball camp this week. For the high school students, there was IELD programming at both Deering and Portland High School. Those are completed at this time. And for the rising 9th graders, we still have programs going at Deering, Casco Bay, and Portland High School.
Lose her? Board Member Bondo, I think we've lost you. Okay, if she comes back, we'll follow up. Any other board member questions? Yeah, Board Member Lilly.
I'm wondering if y'all are still serving the culturally appropriate foods, or if that contract with Good Shepherds is still, or is that still going on?
Yes.
And
thank
are
you.
those the summer foods that you're?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Board Member Billiou, was that your?
Yes, that was it. Thank you.
Beautiful. I'd love to piggyback on that around the culturally appropriate food. I know we have it in the food bank, and then it sounds like within the summer meals, but are there plans for this year to be doing more of that in the school lunches? And I think it was just at the high school level, is that right, that it got rolled out? Is it going to be in other schools this year?
Yeah. Thank you. Chair Lentz. We did roll out some culturally relevant meals last school year at the elementary level. We did adapt one of those recipes. Lori Beetham, our central kitchen manager, worked really hard with our cooks to revise that recipe so that it would be doable for the elementary schools. We did serve that, I believe, 2 to 3 times. We will continue to focus on that work. And we are also in the Halal School Meals Network, which is a small grant with South Portland, Portland, and Westbrook. And we are exploring how to bring halal meals to the Portland Schools Meal Program and what that training and everything involved with that, what that would look like and how we can achieve that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that and for all the work that you're doing. I have a couple more questions. Barrett, I think this one is for you. It's good. It's kind of like a game show. If you could just speak to any initiatives or work that's being done to really increase the racial diversity of our candidates. And I know last year the board had requested demographic information on our hiring. So I know we don't have that tonight, but I know that's definitely an interest of the board in the next couple of meetings. But if you could just talk about what's happening to increase the diversity of our pipeline.
A lot. It is definitely worth its own update and to involve our director of BIPOC leadership and career pathways. I had already mentioned the TNTP bar grant project. That is one where that's been the explicit focus, like really everything we're doing. So we're continuing to go deeper around our equity hiring materials. So really focusing on like how we hire to ensure that when people do apply that we've addressed all of the things that happen in hiring processes that can exclude people. That also includes updating job descriptions. So we have updated teacher and ed-tech job descriptions that are, more inclusive of our value statement and, and are signaling the importance of that and making it clear to potential applicants that that is a priority for us. And then there's lots of other kind of pipeline projects that we're doing internally, which really we should let Ms. Hazel be able to speak to at some point. But that's all going on, sort of in support of this, certainly. So
awesome. That is great.
It's not just one thing, of course.
Yeah, great. And I hope that we can make space for that update. I think it feels really important. And just thank you for taking on, I know you're in a new role and taking on more, and it's just really exciting to see you hold an even bigger container.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So it's when we do, I think it's in October is when we would have those updated staffing numbers. So we'd compare it to last year. And now that we've been doing this for a while, we have something to kind of be tracking against and kind of see where we're going. And if it continues we have continued in the right path. So we'll see if the trend holds for this year. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Barrett.
Of course.
And then I have one more question and then any other board members. Grace, does it feel like right now our language needs of our McKinney-Vento students are being met? Does it feel, I'm just trying to get a sense of kind of how challenging or not that is at the moment.
Are you talking about specifically in the summer? Because before my staff didn't work in the summer, or?
I guess as you are preparing students to come in this fall, like, does it feel like you have what you need within your department to be doing that work?
Yes, we still have a few vacancies. So we've added positions in the budget. So yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And then just a question on the McKinney-Vento numbers. Are those unique students or could it possibly be like students that move to a different district and come back, or is it those are unique numbers? Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Oh,
so there's like 100. It was 808, whatever number that it was. Families served in Portland as a whole.
Yeah,
and then it was the 719 is so over the course of the year, 109 students moved and found permanent housing and left under the school year. And then the number will be updated again by the end of August. So.
And this is Cassidy Stevenson, who is our bilingual social worker working this summer for us.
Yeah, which was another new position.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cassidy, for all you're doing for our students in our district. Really appreciate it. And then just one plug, because there's so many building leaders in the room. Last summer, I was lucky enough to get to help at a school teachers set up their classrooms. And I just would offer up the opportunity that if you need bodies in your school to do manual labor, please reach out to the board. I think it's a great relationship building opportunity. It gets us in the schools. Teachers can talk to us directly. So please don't hesitate to reach out if there are needs that we can help with bodies. And Board Member Youssef, did I see your hand?
Actually, our new social work answered my question, but my question was the 719, the 119 that found housing. Are they in Portland, or we follow if they are in other districts?
No, we do keep track of if they move out of district. They no longer they have the option during the school year, if they're McKinney-Vento, like the question before, to stay in Portland, and then the cost of transport is split between Portland and the other city that they move to. But when the new school year starts, people who have moved over the summer, if they have permanent housing, they don't count in that. But the 109 students is people who found permanent housing, and a lot of them found housing outside of Portland.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Can I ask a follow up to that? Did you say that they're choosing where they are going?
While they're considered McKinney-Vento, if they find permanent housing during the school year and they move, they have, under the McKinney-Vento law, they are able to choose if they want to stay at the school that they have been at for the school year, or if they want to move to the new school district.
Oh, okay. So they would physically move, but can still be placed in the same school system.
Yes. And that's where I think transport comes in clutch for us, is then we have to figure out how we transport them if they move and now they're in a different school district, but they want to stay at the school they were going to. Transport helps find a way to make that possible.
Okay. And can you tell me which department in the city y'all are working with or coordinating with?
So in the city?
Yeah, are you working?
So we're through the Multicultural Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And
do y'all know who you're coordinating with?
And then you mean with like social services?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're coordinating with the program, the social service department, health and human services.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, let me just check on Board Member Bondo. All right. So I don't see any, so we're going to move on, but just thank you, everyone in this room, for everything that you're doing. I have had the first day of school on my radar, but now it is very much on my radar. So thank you for making it happen. And now we're going to move on to personnel. So up first, we have, the right document up in front of me. So first up, we have consideration and action to approve election of administrators. Deputy Superintendent, do you want to speak to this? Is Barrett who's speaking? Okay, speak away.
Great. Yes, as I said earlier, very excited to welcome two new members of our leadership team here in Portland Public Schools this evening. So we have Ms. Halima Noor, who will be the assistant principal at Deering High School. Ms. Noor is a former PPS student, teacher, equity leader, Title IX harassment and discrimination liaison, and served as our interim assistant principal for the past few months at the end of the year at Deering. So we're super excited to welcome Ms. Noor as a full-time member of our leadership team. And then at Portland High School, we're super excited to welcome Scott Walker to the administrative team at Portland High School. Scott brings a wealth of experience in systems and districts around the state as an administrator, and we're excited to have him be joining the team at Portland High School. Scott, just one moment. I'll invite you and Halima up to the mic in just a moment. We'll finish the board action.
Beautiful. Yeah. So do we have a motion to approve these personnel items, the election of administrators? Thank you, Board Member Opperman. Is there a second? Board Member Billiou. Beautiful. We do not have public comment on personnel items. Any questions from the board?
Not question, but a remark. I'm so sorry. I'm so happy to see Halima here. I went to school with her, and it's crazy that she's in this position right now, but obviously well deserved. Thank you for being here, and thank you for serving your students.
Thank you, Board Member Bilio. Then by roll call vote, please indicate whether you are in favor of these personnel items. Deputy Superintendent Townsend?
Yep. Member Billiou?
Yes.
Vice Chair Bondo?
Yes.
Member Bryden?
Yes.
Member Figdor?
Yes.
Member Opperman?
Yes.
Member Russell Better?
Yes.
Member Youssef?
Yes.
Member Hemond?
Yes.
And Chair Lentz?
Yes. And so the motion passes unanimously with the student representatives voting with the majority.
And so,
Sorry, I also wanted to make a remark. Could I just say something quickly?
Yes.
Okay. I just, so I have a daughter at Deering, and as we know, Dr. Ahmed touches the lives of so many students, every student at Deering, so does Miss Noor. And I think we are just so fortunate as a district to have Miss Noor moving into this position. She's been the teacher that really changed the trajectory of my daughter's education and defined her education at Deering and her high school education. She was telling me, she went to Deering, an event at Deering today, because of Miss Noor. Just Miss Noor opens doors for so many students and just touches the lives of so many students. And we are just so fortunate to have her in this leadership position. So, thank you, Miss Noor, for all you do. You're just, you blow my mind, and we're so happy. My daughter told me, you have to pay her whatever it takes. I said, we got it.
great. I'd like to invite, Scott and Halima forward if you'd like to just say a few short words.
Firstly, I want to thank everyone. Y'all are so kind, but I also wanted to say that I'm proof that the Portland Public School System works, and it works wonderfully when we give our students high expectations, high standards. We hold them to it, but we also give them the scaffolds and supports and differentiations that they need. And that's what I want to continue doing, giving students the opportunity to be successful, because I was given that through Dr. Ahmed and many teachers that I had at Deering who believed in me. And that's all young people need, is someone who believes in them. So I want to continue that work at Deering. Thank you.
I just want to take a moment to thank everyone here. And I've spent 18 years in high school administration in the state of Maine. And I feel like I am coming into a district of great significance, and I look forward to the opportunity to serve the students at Portland High School. And I am extremely eager to get started with that. High schools, or schools in general, will almost function as warehouses until students are there. And when students are there, there's a lot of music to be heard, and I'm excited for that. Thank you.
Thank you. And just before we move to the other personnel items, I'm also excited. I want to just take a moment to introduce to the board two significant leadership hires that are part of our team moving forward this year. So I'm super excited as a colleague to Dr. Ahmed, who will be our Executive Director of Secondary Schools. We just recently finished our search and selection process, and from a strong, robust pool of candidates, I'm very excited to welcome Angela Atkinson-Duina to be the Executive Director of Elementary Schools. Angela joins us most recently from USM, where she was a leadership professor, helping to work with folks like Ms. Noor and others who have joined our system over the past number of years and developing them. So we're super excited to capitalize on that experience. She was with Portland Public Schools a number of years ago, supporting school improvement efforts, focused and worked with some members of the board at that time around the development of the parent, the parent advisory committee, and after the adoption of the parent manifesto from Portland Empowered. So brings significant Portland context, significant school leadership experience, and we think is a great fit to support our elementary schools in their next step. So very excited to welcome Angela. I'm also super excited to introduce Matthew Powers. So Matthew is joining us from Greater Portland Health, where he's led significant data work for our partners at Greater Portland Health over the past number of years. He brings a strong both technical background in terms of the tools and the systems, as well as the insights and the big picture about how to connect the data work to our larger both system-wide priorities as well as kind of classroom priorities, and asking the kind of questions to be able to move us forward and use data in ways that helps us to accomplish our outcomes for students. So Matthew will be serving as the Director of Data and Analytics, and we shortly, hopefully, will be finalizing a hire for a data manager to have our full data team in place and ready to launch the year. So excited to welcome the both of you. Welcome. Just a brief moment if you want to say just a brief word as well about joining our team.
Hi there, Matthew Powers. I'm very excited and grateful to be here. I've led the quality and data team at Greater Portland Health for a number of years, and we've done a lot of great work connecting institutional knowledge and data. We're a federally funded program, so we report a lot of data, and it's nice to be given the opportunity at Greater Portland Health to connect that back to patients on an individual level. We worked hard to connect data back to outreach workers and try and improve metrics and improve outcomes for individuals at the patient level. So I think we have a lot of opportunity to integrate data in a lot of different ways. And I think you guys have a lot of good touchstones already available as far as data resources go. And I'm very excited to kind of put it all together. And I'm also excited to talk to you individually about what you care about.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say how excited I am to be back, and also let you know that I felt like was a great meeting with the elementary team today, which made me even more excited to be back. And you've got a great team, and I think we're going to have a great year in the elementary schools. So thank you all very much. I look forward to working with you. And if I can ever be of assistance, just let me know.
Thank you.
So you good?
Good.
Beautiful. So we're going to move on to our next item, which is the consideration and action to approve personnel items for the election of teacher candidates probationary.
First up, you have the probationary teacher list. You have 37. It should be 38. Apologies to Barrett Pignon, who is the incoming guidance counselor at Portland High. She's on the 1-year only list. I will update that for you. Apologies. Has nothing to do with the fact that I'm not the only Barrett in the district anymore. I promise. So that will give you 38 for tonight that have been hired in the last month.
Beautiful. Thank you. So do I have
I was just going to say Dr. Matt didn't get to speak unless he doesn't. Would you like to say something? I would like to.
Come on, say something.
I don't know where to start, but I will say I've been in the district for a while and I really enjoyed the district and working with you all, and maybe take this opportunity to not only welcome in public our new superintendent, but also shout out to Mr. Townsend for his hard work. And really, like, one of the reasons that I will continue to be happy every morning to work with him. So I want to just put out there that he's a great person and, was there always for everyone. So thank you very much. And thank you very much for just acknowledging and bringing me here.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, next time we'll get our wires straight about who is talking and who isn't. And there's no reflection on how we feel about you, Dr. Ahmed. You are a bedrock to this district. Okay, so now we're going to look for a motion to approve the personnel items listed for probationary teachers. The Yankee board member Opperman, second. Did I see a board member Bryden? Thank you. We don't have any public comment on personnel items. Are there any questions from the board? Okay, any general discussion, not about an individual from the board? All right, then by roll call vote, please indicate whether you're in favor of these personnel items. Deputy Superintendent, please call the roll.
Member Bilyeu?
Yes.
Vice Chair Bondo?
Yes.
Member Bryden,
Yes.
Member Figdor,
Yes.
Dr. Opperman,
Yes.
Member Russell Better,
Yes.
Member Youssef,
Yes.
Member Hemond,
Yes.
and Chair Lentz.
Yes, so the motion passes unanimously with the student voting with the majority. And then we're going to move on to our final personnel item, which is the consideration and action to approve the personnel items listed, election of teacher candidates for 1 year only.
You have in front of you 7, which is actually 6 because we have corrected Barrett's placement. 6 new 1 year only teachers joining Portland Public Schools in front of you.
Great. So do I have a motion to approve these teacher candidates for 1 year only positions? Thank you, Board Member Youssef. Is there a second? Board Member Russell Better. Any questions from the board? Any discussion? All right, then by roll call vote, please indicate whether you're in favor of these personnel items. Deputy Superintendent, will you please call the roll?
Member Bilyeu,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bondo,
Yes.
Member Bryden,
Yes.
Member Figdor,
Yes.
Member Opperman,
Yes.
Member Russell Better,
Yes.
Member Youssef,
Yes.
Member Hemond,
Yes.
and Chair Lentz.
Yes, so the motion passes unanimously with the student representative voting with the majority. Now we have up for executive session. So we have the consideration and action to enter into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA section 405(6)(a) to discuss the base contract. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session? Thank you, Board Member Opperman. Is there a second? Board Member Bryden, all in favor? Okay, so we're going to move into executive session, and I believe we're using the room in the back. Is there a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Board Member Youssef. Is there a second? Thank you, Board Member Bryden. All in favor? And with that, we're going to adjourn at 8:05 p.m. Thank you all.
Good night.